Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at belisiofoods.com/careers.
The Jackson County Fair Board, in conjunction with Total Media, proudly present Neil McCoy. Neil McCoy. Saturday, July 15th at the Jackson County Fair. VIP track access seats now available for only $30, which includes admission to the fair. Get tickets now at jacksoncoohfair.com or at the Total Media Studios in Jackson.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Monday edition of the morning show right here on Main Street TV. And it is Monday, and our good friend Pete Wilson is sitting here, which means we must be doing the morning news update, right, Pete?
That's what we're doing.
All right, and that's so good. We love to spend our Mondays with you. And, of course, morning news updates are brought to you by Nia Henry, agent for Appalachia Realty. And if you have any real estate needs, give Nia a call, 740-418-4135, and she will be working for you.
Okay. All right.
How you doing? Did you have a good weekend, Pete?
Yes, I actually got away for a day or two.
What? You did? Nuh-uh.
Yeah, left work just a little early on Friday and was away until Sunday noon.
Well, very good. Did you do anything fun?
Well, yeah, it was relaxing. We met, Pam and I met some old friends, Ed and Phyllis McQueen.
Mm-hmm.
Some people may remember Phyllis McQueen. She was the superintendent of the Oak Hill schools for a number of years. They are native Kentuckians, and after they both retired, they moved back to the Louisville, Kentucky area. And once or twice a year, we get together with them. And we met at a place called Murfin Ridge. Have you ever heard of Murfin Ridge?
I have not. What's that?
Well, it is a large bed and breakfast that is in the middle of the Adams County hills. It's kind of like supposed to be a relaxing getaway type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a house. It's got a big guest house and got guest cabins and all like that. They have honestly great hospitality, and their meal service, which of course breakfast comes with it, but you can also have dinner
get
too.
Other stuff too,
right?
Yeah.
You can it's as good as any restaurant that you get in the big city, and
Nice.
you're out in the country, and it gets really good publicity and reviews for just being a relaxing getaway type thing. You have couples and friends that get away. You have newlyweds. There's business meetings that are there.
Sure.
Some locals go there just to, after they've worked hard on the weekend.
Yeah, just to chill out.
But they draw. They had all sorts of newspaper articles on the wall framed where they had positive reviews for their hospitality and their food.
That's so good.
So it was very nice, and it's a little bit more than an hour, so it's not that far
not
away.
Far at all.
They do advertise statewide, so I mean it's obviously you're not going to fill the place if you just get Adams County customers.
Well, probably not.
So they get a lot from Cincinnati, the Cincinnati area, but even beyond.
That's so cool.
When we were there, we saw license plates from 3 different states.
That should tell you something, shouldn't it?
Right, it is very, very nice, very nice. I would recommend it.
Very good.
And we've been there several times, and like I say, one of the best things about it, it's not too far away.
Exactly.
All right. Okay.
Well, good.
Well, yeah, it was very nice. So a nice respite in the middle of one of the busiest news months.
I was going to say, well deserved, because there is a lot going on.
Right. And one of the things most recently going on that we want to talk about, it was last Friday morning, and it really represents a very neat partnership between the Jackson City Schools, the Adena Health System, and the community.
Okay.
It is the Ironman Clinic. Now, the Ironman Clinic has been operating for a couple of years at the Jackson Middle School. And this was another clinic that was started there by Adina in cooperation with the Jackson City Schools to provide extra health care there on site at the middle school. You got a big population there.
Yeah,
when you talk
for
about
sure.
this, when you talk about the students and you talk about the staff, and you're talking about a school nurse or two in the whole district, that could be a lot to
Yes,
deal
it
with.
is.
And the school thought that would be a good service. Adina was willing to do it, and they kind of upgraded from what they've been doing for the last couple of years. Before, it was within the regular middle school building.
Mm-hmm.
Now it has been relocated into a renovated, remodeled area in the old Jackson Center for Student Achievement building, where the VOAG, I believe, used to be in past years.
Okay, out by kind of where the gymnasium is.
Right,
over
right,
there? Okay.
right. If the locals and people who've gone to the Jackson City Schools, Trago Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
comes if you jump Tropic Street, that it goes into the school area, and then there's a gymnasium on one side. On the other side, there's a couple of buildings, and one of them is where the new Ironman Clinic is.
Cool.
Just finished a major construction remodeling project where the Ironman Clinic is going in. Our own Stockmeister Enterprises did the construction work. And this past Friday morning, there was a ribbon cutting ceremony.
Oh, cool.
School representatives were there, including, and there you see the ribbon cutting, Superintendent Phil Howard from the Jackson City Schools, folks from Adina Health System, including Candace Kennedy, were there, and Jackson Mayor Randy Evans there. There on the left, you see Seth Stockmeister of Stockmeister Enterprises, and this was everybody was really high about this, praiseworthy of this project, because not only is it going to serve the school population, it's open to the general public as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Right. And even though we have, we've got our medical facilities in town and our doctor's offices, and we've got one emergency room, a couple of urgent care centers, sometimes it's hard to get in.
Yeah.
Particularly, if you have something where you need to see the doctor, but it's not an emergency.
Yes.
And so this is another option. It is open to the general public. It was created mainly to serve the school population, but they thought from a community service angle, from the school's angle, and certainly from Adina's angle, this was another way to serve the public. And so at the ribbon cutting ceremony at 109 Trago Street, Chamber of Commerce people were there as well. Here is one of the exam rooms. Several exam rooms are in there.
Gotcha.
As well. And this was made possible by a $300,000 grant of the American Rescue Plan Act. This was another way that federal money, which was awarded through many different reasons because of the COVID-19 crisis, this was a way to provide extra medical care. And so that was the connection between the American Rescue Plan Act helping communities and being willing to do things that would improve the access of local health care. And so, this is open now. It has actually been open since 2019. However, it was closed for a short period during the COVID-19 thing. Of course, schools weren't operating. It wasn't, honestly, a very good business situation because, this is a business through Adina as well as a service. And Superintendent Phil Howard, when he made his remarks, and our editorial assistant, Alex Shope, was there for the ribbon cutting. We got a nice article that will go in Wednesday's paper. We'll be putting it online as well. He really saluted Adina's commitment to stay with the project, even though there were challenges. Not only the fact that it was new and getting started and a new concept, but you had to come through a COVID situation where, of course, the medical facilities were overtaxed as it was, just dealing with that at their main facilities. And so after COVID-19, Phil Howard was very delighted that, Adina restarted the project and actually, now have expanded it and improved it with the new facility there at the Jackson Center for Student Achievement. So very nice, that very positive story. And like I say, we will be reporting on that in our Wednesday paper, and we hope to have that online as well. And that's just off the beaten track a little bit. But if you drive back into that little that little part of Trago Avenue on the other side of Tropic Street, where you're pulling into where the gymnasium is, and that side of the high school, I believe that would be the west side of the the middle school. you can see where the Ironman Clinic is. It's to the right there.
Okay. Very good.
And that would be important to know, if you ever need to book medical services there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Another big story that kind of occurred last weekend after or last week after we did our last news show was the retirement or resignation of Vinton County Common Pleas Judge Jim Salyer.
Oh.
James P. Salyer. He had been the judge of the Vinton County. There is Jim right there. He had been the judge of the Vinton County Common Pleas Court since he was appointed starting in April 26, 2020. He was reelected without opposition to a 6-year term in the November 2022 election.
Okay.
And we do have a request out for an interview with Jim. We've always had a real good relationship with him, but this kind of broke without a lot of notice in the middle of last week when the Vinton County Republican Party posted that they were looking for applicants to fill this position. The only thing that really has come out that we can confirm from reliable sources, including the Vinton County Republican Party, that at least partially the reason for Judge Salyer stepping down is health reasons.
Okay. Because he's so newly elected.
Right. And before he was the common pleas judge, I mean, he had really, made his place in the community, was well known. Athens County native, but really through his professional work as a lawyer ever since, almost out of law school, has been in Vinton County, first as a practicing attorney in one of the law firms. Then he became the county court judge, did that for a number of years. And then he had the opportunity and was appointed to be the common pleas judge when Jeff Simmons retired back in 2020. So the process is, we've seen this before in Jackson County.
We've just had such strange political stuff happen recently.
Right. Well, it's not quite like the Board of Elections or a council member or whatever. The party is involved, but the party in this instance, because this is a partisan position, Judge Salyer was a Republican.
Okay.
It isn't one where the Republican committee meets and picks a successor. Because it's a judicial position, the governor actually does it. However,
no kidding.
Yeah, the governor actually does it. When Chris Reagan was appointed common pleas judge, that was the governor. That was the governor.
I did not know that. Okay.
However, the Republican Party in each locale, when one of these opening comes up, the judicial opening comes up, and it's a partisan appointment or a partisan position, meaning it's a Republican or Democrat, the party gets to screen possible applicants and make recommendations.
Okay.
And for instance, I mean...
So they do have a little bit of a say in it.
Right. I don't know. I do not know whether they make a recommendation on one person, two persons, or three persons. I know it's been as many as three persons in the past.
Okay.
But then the governor takes into consideration, the party screening. And, you figure the locals know know the judicial candidates as well as anybody. And, party loyalty may or may not be a big thing, but, you do have to be, in this case, would have to be a Republican. Not sure how many people are qualified for the job because there's extra credentials or whatever. But once the screenings are done, once the deadline for people making application for the judge to the Vinton County Republican Party is actually today. So it's through today, May the 15th. And then at some point, I'm sure very soon, the Vinton County Republican Party will meet, screen those applicants, and then send a recommendation or recommendations. The governor's office may say, hey, give us 3 names, give us 2 names, give us, more than one if there is more than one person.
Yeah.
And then they will actually choose. They may not choose who the party recommends. That is up to the governor.
Wow.
And they try to move it as fast as possible, but obviously, they try to be as careful. But Judge Salyer will remain in his position as common pleas judge at least into June. So there may not be, a break in somebody serving.
Yeah, because you kind of have to have somebody
as the judge. This isn't one where there's a that I know of where there's a certain date where Judge Salyer is going to leave.
Right.
So it'll take place probably within the next month anyway. This move to a new judge. And there are credentials that you have to have. I'll tell you what they are. You have to be a registered voter. You must live in Vinton County. You must have at least 6 years of practice of law. You have to be under the age of 70. All those things you have to have as qualifications or guidelines to be an applicant. And you just contact Rhonda Dutch, who is the Vinton County Republican Party chair, by email or by phone, and then you will be in the hopper, I guess. As a
We
candidate.
could almost qualify for that.
Oh, we could.
Minus the law stuff.
Oh, minus the law stuff. Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. But Judge Salyer, just a little bit of background on him. He came to Vinton County in 1995, shortly after getting out of law school. He was a member of the MacArthur-based law firm that was headed up by Bob Grillo, who is now the probate juvenile judge. He also was at one time the legal counsel for the village of MacArthur.
Okay.
He went on later to be the Vinton County Court judge, was elected. He has served a total of 16 and a half years as the Vinton County Court judge. So he's done that for quite some time. So when it came time for the common pleas judge opening to be filled, obviously he was a leading candidate.
Makes
and he
sense.
was chosen as the new common pleas court judge. So we will see what happens there. We will follow that. But once again, the ultimate decision is with the governor's office.
Okay.
All right. On the criminal justice front, there was a news release put out by the Ohio State Auditor, that is Keith Faber, and that regarded a finding for recovery that was issued by the auditor's office regarding money which was stolen from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. We've talked about this case before, but this is a little bit of a different angle on it. Cheryl Brady, former employee of the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, was indicted and then later convicted of stealing money.
Okay.
She was a front office person, took in the money for the background checks. Anyway, she was accused of stealing money from the sheriff's office over a period of several years. There was an investigation done. She ended up being indicted, was ultimately convicted. And since then, the auditor's office now has issued a finding for recovery of $45,692. This was just issued last Thursday. This is new information.
Okay.
She had been sentenced to prison earlier for stealing fees paid by residents seeking concealed carry handgun licenses and background checks. The total was $37,964 that they said she stole it. The reason that the finding for recovery has gone up to $45,692, which she is personally responsible for, is that there was audit costs of $7,728.50 for the investigation / audit.
Gotcha.
So she is responsible to pay $45,000 there. Just a little background on that case. Back in October 2019, Sheriff Ted Frazier, after an internal review, uncovered discrepancies in deposits of these permit fees. The auditor's special investigating unit was called in. That's a law enforcement division of his office. And the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation also was involved. They conducted a joint investigation and ultimately determined that Brady had pocketed cash payments from November 2018 through October 2019, at least $37,964, which, of course,
okay, that makes sense.
Right, and the figure for the finding and recovery is slightly less than that, but only about like $300. She was indicted in May 2021, and she was later convicted and sentenced just this last February to 36 months in prison. In addition to paying restitution, she also was permanently banned from holding public office.
Let me ask you this, Pete, because you're in kind of a position in working, that's kind of a law enforcement position, I would think. Is there an extra penalty when you're given kind of a, like, if you're a police officer or someone working for the police, is there, do you get penalized extra for that? I just wondered if that was a thing.
I think there's a particular charge.
Because it's almost like you're taking advantage of your position.
There's a particular job, theft in public office or something like that might be greater than theft. I'm really not sure about the degree of the crime, but I'm guessing that it might be worse than if you steal from a private business potentially. Yeah. Then, of course, there's what is chosen on the charges by a grand jury or the prosecutor, and then what a judge decides. And there's always a certain range that the judge has to rule on. He or she may go on one side or the other, and then usually, almost always, restitution is involved as part of it because, to get the money back.
You stole the money, you have to pay it back, right?
I've always wondered, and I know this used to be a problem. It sounds real good when, a person has to pay restitution, but can they pay restitution?
Well, it's called squeezing blood from a turnip, right?
Right. And then, ultimately,
can you?
maybe at some point you may be able to, but I'm not. There is usually a limit on the number of years where this is supposed to be paid, and if you can't pay, can they extend it? I think that becomes problematic, or it used to be. I don't want to go in territory I'm not sure about, but I remember in the past that was always a consideration. 5 years later, after somebody maybe hasn't paid $15,000, does anybody even hear about it?
Correct.
But obviously, that should be part of the charge. In some cases, maybe some people, through family connections or whatever, or maybe they had money in a bank account or something, they'll be able to pay that. But I know in Cheryl Brady's case, this didn't come out in this particular story, but I know that that a drug problem supposedly fueled her situation.
I think I remember that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay. So also on the criminal justice front, this was something that we heard about, but we had to track down the information and confirm it. I give Alex Shope, who is usually not on the law enforcement beat, a lot of credit for doing this. But this happened back on April 7th. There was an investigation that followed, and it took the better part of 2 weeks for charges to be filed. But it involved the firing of a gun outside of the corner pub, which is in downtown Jackson.
That's a no-no.
Right. That's on Friday, April the 7th. And, it occurred in Friday evening, late Friday evening, as a matter of fact.
You got to be kidding me.
On Friday, April the 7th, it all started out with the police getting a 911 call reporting a fight outside of the pub. It said that someone had started firing a gun outside of that location, not necessarily at somebody, but they were firing a gun and they were angry. There was a confrontation that was involved.
Yeah, that's
the then unidentified male left with two others in a black Chevrolet Silverado truck, diesel truck, and it had a small lift kit that had blackened windows and a black drop hitch with a silver ball attached. All that mattered because they were trying to find the truck. Right, a description of the truck. Also, the male who was seen by witnesses involved in this altercation and making the threats and potentially allegedly firing the gun, had a Kenworth jacket or clothing on. That a further way to possibly identify this person. Well, the Jackson police launched an investigation. They did find 2 bullet casings outside there to confirm that there was, a firearm that was fired.
That's scary.
2 other patrons both provided details regarding the incident, but still, initially, the shooter was not identified. 4 days later, on April 11th, the police had gathered enough information that they went to the residence of a person of interest at 334 State Route 327 near Wellston. It was the resident of Patrick Waldron, who was the person of interest. They were able to confirm that Waldron had been wearing Kenworth branded clothing and that he had been there that night. He admitted that he was there that night. He admitted even having a knife in his hand at one time during this altercation. Didn't use it, but had it in hand. Yeah. He did not admit, but did not deny that he may have fired a gun. He just said he couldn't remember that. He was not. He had been to the pub and was compromised and maybe intoxicated, and he couldn't remember.
Okay.
But anyway, through later investigation, they did confirm that he did work at Kenworth. So it's possible that he had Kenworth clothing on. Mm-hmm. They never did, that I know of, get a firearm that linked him to that directly. However, his pickup truck was in line with the description of the pickup truck that was there at the scene. He ended up being taken into custody. They seized an iPhone and an Apple Watch as potential evidence. He was transported to the Jackson Police Department and later charged with discharging a firearm upon or over a public roadway, highway, and also weapons under disability. He was later transported to the Jackson County Correctional Facility and transferred to their custody. A female companion who was with him, who gave police some information. She also gave some testimony, but said that she wasn't aware that he had fired a gun. She denied that part of it, or wasn't aware of that part of it. She has not been charged in that incident. So that gentleman's name, once again, Patrick Waldron. That case, likely will be making its way through court. But indeed, there was shots fired in the air, apparently, as a result of this altercation.
Wow.
Started in the bar and went outside the bar, and that's where the shots were fired.
Okay, that's a bit scary, Pete.
Right. Well, we will have that story coming up in the Telegram very soon, hopefully in our next edition. Like I say, took a little bit of time for the police department to conduct its investigation and determine who they feel was responsible. Right. Determine what happened. Talk to witnesses. Usually just happen with your snap of your fingers. It takes some follow-up work.
Oh, for sure.
And then, of course, we had to work with the police to get the report and see what could be released and like that. Mm-hmm. All right. A story on the public affairs front from Vinton County. The last two Vinton County Commissioners meeting, this would be May 2 and May 9. And Red Thompson Jr. stayed on this, had to do some follow-up work with a principal party involved in this to make sure that we got this right. Very interesting situation the commissioners are dealing about regarding legalities at the Vinton County Airport. The commissioners own the Vinton County Airport land, of course. Okay. Initially, the Vinton County Airport land was owned by a Gene Engel with the Benedict Coal Company. Mm-hmm. And at some point, I don't even know how many years ago it was, he donated land there at the airport for the building of the airport.
For the airport, yeah.
And on that property was a well that provided water service to what is now the airport, as well as for at least 4 residents that were not part of the donation, but near where the well was.
Okay.
All right. For years, those residents have gotten their water from this well. That was something that that Benedict provided. Some of those may have been his employees at one time or whatever, and they built private residences.
That would make sense.
But I don't know whether it was on his land at one time, but it's near his land. And the well that's now on county-owned land at the airport serves not only the airport, but those residents.
Okay.
Okay, well, the Vinton County Prosecutor's Office, led by Assistant Prosecutor William Archer, brought it to the commissioner's attention. I guess this had maybe come up before, but nothing was done about it. No action was taken. Maybe it was still under review. But the Vinton County Prosecutor's Office feels that there is a potential legal problem there because basically, these residents are getting well water from county-owned property, a county-owned well, and they're not paying for it. Even if the commissioners tried to charge them for it, they have no legal avenue right now to get into the water business, so as to speak. So this is something that the residents were supposed to get that Mr. Engel provided, and they have ever since then. But the county says there's liability problems, and there's also no legal mechanism to where they can sell the water to them, at least right now.
Okay.
And so the commissioners have been advised you got to stop doing this. So,
well, you can't just cut people's water off.
No, you don't want to do that. And so they've got a time window that's ticking right now, anywhere from, let's see what it is, anywhere they've notified, let's see, the commissioners feel they must follow the law no matter what their personal feelings are and what they feel are appropriate measures based on what the prosecutor's office has told them. The commissioners, based on this legal advice, have decided to cut the water off in 90 days at the soonest. It wouldn't be any sooner than that, and 6 months at the latest. The residents can apply to the County Development Department for assistance in building a new well. So they would have to build a new well. Apparently, it's not where county water lines are. I'm guessing.
Or they wouldn't be in this situation.
Right. Or maybe it's possible that they could hook on at some time or whatever. I don't know. But the option that was talked about was building a well off the county-owned property that could serve these residents. I don't know how big of a job that is, how much it would cost.
I don't know.
The residents, I presume, would have to bear the cost of that, but they would probably share it. But anyway, the residents who are served by that, they've been at the commissioners' meetings. Of course, William Archer, who is the assistant prosecutor, he was the one delivering this news to the commissioners, and the commissioners are kind of stuck in a bad place. They don't want to take away water service.
This is unfortunate.
They don't want to take away water service, but the prosecutor's office is telling them it was illegal to do what is being done. Nobody was trying to be a bad guy or anything like that. It's just circumstances. Apparently, it was glossed over at the time, not realized at the time, overlooked, whatever. But now the prosecutor's office, who is responsible, for liability and legal questions to keep things the way they need to be legal, they're telling the commissioners in a public meeting the county cannot be in the water business, either selling or giving away.
Yeah.
So that, once again, was a big issue aired at the last commissioners' meeting. All right, another story on the public affairs front from Wellston is what's happening with the McNally-Pittsburgh building. The McNally-Pittsburgh building, of course, that was home to a major industry at one time.
Yes.
It's been empty and shuttered for a long time. The city owns the building. The city of Wellston owns the building. They've been trying to market it for some time.
Mm-hmm.
However, the problem with it, in addition, it being an older building, and off the beaten track a little bit, it's kind of in a residential section on the city's southeast side. When possible tenants have been looking at it, they say it's just not what we need, and it's too big. It's too big for the type of, I guess, the people that have looked at it, at least the businesses or industries that have looked at it. So in the meantime, the city has used it as a makeshift city garage. Not meant to be necessarily permanent, but, let's get some use out of it while we're trying to market it. Okay, well, Mayor Anthony Brenner has brought this up. It's been discussed really in the last two meetings. Probably it hasn't earlier before. But he has decided, if we can't sell it, why don't we just make it a permanent city garage, so we get some use out of it. It's too big for what the city needs for it, too, as a city garage, but they could use part of it.
You may have said this. Does the city own it?
The city owns the property. And so, they want to use it, but better yet, they would, since they don't need a building that big, they would like to sell it to somebody, get the money, and maybe create some jobs.
Correct.
Somebody else create some jobs. But doesn't look like that's going to happen. So before they pull the trigger and say they're not going to sell it and maybe do more adaptation so it'll work better as a city garage rather than just a makeshift city garage, they are going to do at least Anthony Brenner at least has proposed this, and I suppose it'll happen, touring the building prior to the next council meeting. That will be Thursday, May the 18th. That's this coming Thursday.
Okay.
And so that'll give, the city council members a chance to see firsthand what they have there.
Gotcha.
And what direction they want to do. There's also a similar situation with the newer Millennium building, which is right next to the McNally-Pittsburgh building. Remember, that used to be a telemarketing
thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it is not being used right now either. It's a smaller building, and it has been suggested as a place for possibly the Wellston Police Department.
Okay.
It would be, the police would have their own place. It would be a little bigger than what they have now, which is basically in the basement of the Wellston City building. Kind of small for a police department there. Now, the disadvantage would be it would be away from the city building.
Now, which building is that Dylan just put up?
That is the McNally-Pittsburgh building right there.
Yep, that's a big building, Pete.
That is a big building, and part of it is being used for a city garage. And you can see a big property like that, you hate to have it there not used.
Yep.
And I don't know whether there's been any talk about demolishing it. I don't think so, because it's an existing building that's there, and it's not, honestly, a perfect and ideal site because it's off the beaten track a little bit. And I know that they were hoping, had used $750,000, almost $705,000 for a brownfield remediation project to make it more ready.
Okay.
But even though they have this project, I'm not sure what the status of it is. Even with that, they still have not been able to find a buyer.
Gotcha.
Doesn't mean they can't, but that was what Anthony Brenner's come to the conclusion that maybe it's best that we maybe quit trying to sell it and find a way to use it.
Okay. Since it's around 9:30, Dylan, do you want to hear from our friends from the Vinton County National Bank? Then we'll be back.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Very good. Remember, Vinton County National Bank, Jackson Banking Center right here. You can take advantage of some of these really, really cool accounts.
All right. Do you know what last Friday was here in Jackson County?
Oh, geez. No.
Well, it didn't apply to you,
Okay.
but maybe one day it will. Jackson County Senior Citizens Day.
Okay.
I mean, it was party time.
I feel like I'm pretty close.
Right. No, you're not. At the Wagon Wheelers Hall.
How fun.
Right. They've had this every day. It's in conjunction with Older Americans Month, which is May. And the Jackson County Board of Aging, a.k.a. the Senior Citizens Center, has always done this. They've had this out at Cantor's Cave before. They had it at Wagon Wheelers. Now, remember that the Wagon Wheelers Square Dance Club, which has declined in numbers and like that, and they just don't have an active organization anymore. They made that building available to the senior citizens, so they could use it and also rent it out, extra income. And so they had their own party there for Senior Citizens Day.
Awesome.
And it was mainly a social thing. You're talking about a free meal. You're talking about entertainment. John Hensler, Jackson County Commissioner, was doing some gospel singing there. They had some games, line dancing, and so forth. But the big event or the big announcement there was the Jackson County Senior Citizen of the Year Award, and it was Ronnie Henderson. There is Ronnie right in the middle there. He does some work at the Senior Citizen Center as well as being the Senior Citizen of the Year. On the left there is Susan Morgan, who is the director of the Jackson County Board of Aging, and that is Wendy James, who is her title is Activities and Marketing Director. She's doing the job that Lisa Warrens used to do.
Gotcha.
She's there on the right, and Red Thompson Jr. was there, said it was a great time. Everybody had a good time. And Mr. Henderson, I want to tell you why he's honored. First of all, he graduated from Washington Township High School, which is up near Wellston, was in the United States Marine Corps. He retired from the railroad, a railroad-related employment at B&O and CRX. He and his wife, Judy, attend the Grace Baptist Fellowship of Wellston, and they have been married, listen to this, 63 years. How about that?
That is awesome.
4 children, 9 grandchildren, 11 great-grandchildren. But Ronnie was given the Outstanding Senior Citizen Award because he has been a long-term employee of the Board of Aging. He is described as a joyful, energetic, ambitious, reliable, and hard worker, very knowledgeable. Wendy says that he is the human GPS to them. He knows the county very well because, they go out on their routes to deliver the home-delivered meals and their transportation services. And Ronnie always knows, the places, the geography of Jackson County. So congratulations to Ronnie Henderson.
Yes.
We know he watches the paper. I've known him for a long time. He's very proud of his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren.
Very cool.
All right, another positive thing to report out of Wellston for their alumni activities, which are coming up on Saturday evening, May the 27th. John Pelletier is the president of the Alumni Association, another hat that he wears.
Another one, huh?
In conjunction with the Wellston City Schools, they do what is called the Wall of Achievement honoree.
Okay.
It's always usually one person every year, could be alive, could be deceased, but somebody who has a connection with Wellston or the Wellston City Schools who is worthy of permanent honor status. They have chosen this year as the honoree the late Vice Admiral John Sylvester. And we do have a photo of him. There he is in his vice admiral outfit. What a distinguished person! I knew of Dr. John. I knew of John E. Sylvester, who was. Let me see, make sure I got my names right. John Sylvester was a vice admiral, but another Sylvester, who the library is named after, was a longtime editor in Wellston.
Okay.
So that was a relation. Anyway, Mr. Sylvester graduated from Wellston High School in 1922, and he had a long career in the Navy. Ended up as a vice admiral. Retired in 1965 with the rank of vice admiral. At one time, he was the deputy chief of naval operations for logistics. And he served as commander of the amphibious forces, United States Pacific Fleet, actually, for a total of 3 years, from 1958 to 60. He will be honored posthumously at this Wellston High School alumni banquet on Saturday evening, May the 27th. And John would want me to say that tickets for the alumni banquet are available. It's a wonderful evening. Been there before. It includes a full dinner buffet that starts at 5 p.m. The alumni program will start at 6 p.m. And there will be a social hour in there as well. The cost,
just saying they're having prime ribs, so sign up.
Right. The cost of each ticket is only $20 for all that.
Yeah.
That is something else.
Huge buffet.
Alumni banquet tickets are now on sale at Brodigan Sports and Trophies on South Ohio Avenue in Wellston. Once again, this year's honoree for the Wellston Walls of Achievement, in conjunction with the Wellston High School Alumni Association, is John E. Sylvester.
Cool.
All right. There was a notable person, a state person, high-ranking person that came to the Oak Hill FFA banquet, which was last Saturday morning. Red Thompson was there. We're going to have a report on the banquet. But what we wanted to say, the special celebrity who was there, Matt Bennett, who does such a great job with the Oak Hill FFA, managed to get the Ohio Director of Agriculture, Brian Baldridge, there as a special guest speaker. And Brian Baldridge spoke there at the banquet. And, he told the FFA members to go with gusto for their dreams, and told them, that they just need to dream big and put hard work behind their dreams. And, that's good counsel for any graduation or any group of seniors. But that is Brian Baldridge there at the podium, and that is some of the FFA members there, that FFA officers there that were listening to him, FFA members there as well. And like I say, we will have a report on that coming up. All right, another thing that's happening in Jackson that's positive, once again, just a great story of community involvement that is just now taking place that we can tell you about. We heard about it first at the last Jackson City Council meeting on Monday evening, but since then there's been a Facebook post that Amanda Crabtree has put out. But the goal is to repair and rehab the tennis courts at Eddie Jones Park.
Yes.
Now, these tennis courts were put in at the park some time ago, but
a few years ago,
right?
Pete.
They've fallen into disrepair a little bit, and the main problem over there is the flooding.
Yeah.
Whenever the water comes up, those tennis courts can not only they can be flooded, they can have standing water on them, just like they can out on the ball fields when it rains a lot. And so, it's made the courts unplayable sometimes. It's left some damage there. They have been used, but they're just not in the greatest condition.
Right.
Well, this community group, they don't really, their Facebook name is Jackson Rackets and Paddles. And they propose to the city, if they do a bunch of the labor, they put some work and maybe some money into fixing up the courts. Would the city do some of the heavier labor, like replacing, like taking out and putting in the new poles and like that?
Sure.
Would they do that? And Mayor Randy Evans and council were, elated about this and appreciative of what this group is wanting to do. Kay Howe was there to speak to that group. Amanda Crabtree and her husband, H.D. Crabtree, who happens to be a city councilman, were there as well. And the side story on this is, even though there is a need for the tennis courts to be fixed, there is a sport that's become very popular in recent years called pickleball.
Yes.
Pat Eisenagel, who's I think he's the president of the YMCA board. He kind of got it started, or he's kind of the father of pickleball in town. So he's very much for this. He came to the city council meeting too. But I did not know this. Many people don't know what pickleball is, but a pickleball court and a tennis court align.
Yeah,
you can play
they're very
pickleball
similar,
on a tennis court,
Yeah.
in other words. So not only will this be the rehab of tennis courts for tennis players, but it will be another place for all those pickleball players to play. There is organized pickleball at the YMCA,
Yes.
but it's inside. And of course, there's lots of activities there at the YMCA in the gymnasium, so it's not available to pickleball all the time.
Correct.
There are tennis courts that are available at the Y, but there's only 2, and they're not available all the time.
Yep.
Sometimes I think they're locked up, and you have to ask to use them. They are available to the public, but the high school uses them, so they're not available all the time either.
Right.
So this would make 4 courts available over at the Eddie Jones Park that could be also used for pickleball.
Cool.
Through this Facebook group, this was just announced, I think yesterday. They have announced a work session, 2 work sessions, one for tomorrow evening. That is Tuesday, May the 16th, from 6 to 8 p.m. over there at Eddie Jones Park, and then again on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 to get the courts ready for new poles, nets, and paint. There's cleanup work that needs to be done mainly. And so they are asking volunteers, not only the people that are in this group that came to council.
Right.
They're asking other people to come, bring shovels and wheelbarrows and their time to help do the labor part of it that the group is going to do on its own to that will precede what the city will do as far as actually taking out the poles and putting in the new poles and so forth. So that's if you're interested in playing pickleball or tennis, either one,
That's so
and you
cool.
haven't heard about this, something like this doesn't happen unless enough people get involved. And I know that there is a core group who's really dedicated to it, and they're saying they're going to do it. All they needed was cooperation from the city to allow them to do it and to work with them with a limited amount of work on the city's side. And so, this is going forward. The 2 work sessions, one on Tuesday evening, and then next Saturday, during the day or during the morning from 9 a.m. to noon. If you want to learn more about it, there's a Facebook page called Jackson Rackets and Paddles.
Mm-hmm.
That's started by the administrator Amanda Crabtree, and so she can give you information about it. Kay Howe can give you information about it. H.D. Crabtree can. There are others too. Pat Eisenagel, I know, will be a big advocate as well. He was at the council meeting as well. Now, one of the things they discussed at the council meeting has nothing to do with this work project. They know that one of the problems is the flood-prone problem over there at Eddie Jones Park. They know that in the long term, that's going to be a temporary solution. They don't want to wait for a facility to be built somewhere. I mean, they're going to have to figure out where land might be available, how much it's going to cost, how much it's going to start from scratch. But that is the longer-term vision. And I'm sure they're thinking that if more people get involved because of these courts being rehabbed, that more people will get on board with a more permanent solution later on.
Okay.
So that's one of the great things that's happening in Jackson.
That's great.
Hasn't happened yet, but there's some people willing to put some work behind their words.
I think it'll be great.
Right. Okay. What else do we want to talk about? The city of Jackson is ready to address high grass violations. We had an item in our Saturday paper. There are certain dates that you have to mow by in Jackson, but grass cannot be more than 12 inches high. Now, at the last council meeting, David Swackhammer, the service director, said that the city's not going to. They have a code enforcement officer named Ray Lewis. They're not going to go around with a ruler looking for 12 inches or more, but they are going to address the worst of the worst. Is how Swackhammer put it. So if you haven't cut your grass and it's unsightly, and the city sees it, or maybe you even have another person complain about it, the city is going to enforce its ordinance. The ordinance, as first-time violators could be charged with a minor misdemeanor. That carries a fine of up to $150 in community service. And if you have a second violation or you don't take care of it, it could get worse from a legal standpoint.
Here's the deal. It costs less than $150 to hire someone to mow your grass. So mow your grass.
Right. We're going to move quickly here because Jeremiah Shaver's here to talk about a couple of neat things that's going on that he covered. Armed Forces Day picnic. I know you're going to hear more about that later this week here on the TV show, I think.
Okay.
But it's. I think they've only done this one year before, but it's going to be held again this Saturday at Manpower Park. Armed Forces Day picnic. The local veterans organizations, most of them are involved in it. So is the Jackson County Veterans Service Office. It's just a free picnic for veterans and their families.
Awesome.
At Manpower
Love
Park.
that.
It will be from 12 p.m. to 4. The free event is actually open to the public, but it is targeted, of course, for veterans and their families.
Of course.
There'll be a cookout, a live band, bouncy houses for the kids. If you want to learn more about it, check the VFW Post 8402 Facebook page. All right, just a couple of things in sports we can tell you real quick. Congratulations to the Wellston High School softball team. Last Thursday, they defeated Piketon 6-0 to win a sectional title at home. This was their sixth straight Division III sectional tournament title, which tells you something about the caliber of the Wellston girls softball
They're doing
program.
something up there, right?
Hannah Potts, we want to give her special credit. She is a young pitcher for Wellston.
Yep.
There she is, getting ready to throw. All she did was strike out 19 batters.
Oh,
19 batters. You can't do much better than that. The win was their Lady Rockets' 17th of the season. They've only lost 6 games. They will be playing tonight at 6 p.m. against Colgrove at Unioto High School in the first round of the district tournament.
You go, girls.
All right. And, of course, the Jackson Ironmen will be playing tonight. That's why I have the red shirt on. This is the first round of the tournament. They are playing Gallia Academy.
Okay.
Jackson defeated Meigs, by the way, last Friday 12-1. So they're kind of rolling. They're like, I think, 18-5 now.
Wow.
And so, once again, this Monday at 5 o'clock, broadcast time, maybe a few minutes before, Dan Morrow and I will be on hand for a first-round Division II sectional baseball tournament game against the Gallia Academy Blue Devils. It'll be at home. If Jackson wins, they will play at home again on Wednesday, and we'll have that game for you. Got to win, though. But that would be against the winner of another game tonight between Miami Trace and Greenfield.
Okay.
All right. We also want to report on the TVC Ohio, or the TVC track meet, conference track meet, the big track event held at Benton County High School last Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And we had Red Thompson Jr. there for that. And neither Wellston or Benton County placed first. Athens was first for both boys and girls.
Okay.
However, Kimmy Aubrey from Wellston High School, she is a junior and an outstanding athlete. She was the high point girl. And that is Kimmy in the long jump there. All Kimmy did, she won the High Point Award with 32 points on her own. She was first place in the long jump, second place in the high jump, and she was second in the 200-meter dash and third in the 400-meter dash. She did everything. 32 points on her very own.
Wow.
So congratulations to Kimmy Aubrey.
Way to go, Kimmy.
And we'll have, of course, all the sports reports in our next paper. I think the TVC stuff, the track meet was in last Saturday's paper, and the softball was as well. And we'll have new stuff because we got these tournament games going on tonight, too.
Very good.
All right, I'm going to get out of the way because Jeremiah Shaver,
Jeremiah's
he
here.
went down on the farm on Friday.
Oh.
And so he's going to tell you all about it and show you some pictures from there.
Very good. Thanks, Pete. Appreciate you spending your morning with us. Well,
Morning,
hi, buddy.
Jen. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
So before we get to the farm, I want to talk about we had a little bit of a breaking news story Friday afternoon.
Okay.
That I wanted to touch on. So at approximately 3:28 p.m. on Friday, May 12th, emergency personnel were dispatched to a 2-vehicle crash involving a school bus, Jen.
That's never good.
Never good.
Not at all.
So this incident involving a school bus happened on Beaver Pike between Lake Catherine Road and Austin Way there in Liberty Township.
Gotcha.
Not too far past Westview Elementary there out Beaver Pike.
Pretty close.
Yeah, not too far away. And Dylan's just showing some photos of the scene out there when I got out there. A little bit about the crash. According to the High State Highway Patrol, Penny Landrum, 55 of Jackson, was operating a 2012 Thomas-built school bus, number 23. It was occupied by 8 students. Landrum was traveling westbound on Beaver Pike when she slowed to a stop to drop a student. At this time, the school bus was struck in the rear by a westbound 2001 Honda CR-V that was being operated by Leah Christian, 59 of Piketon.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
Yeah. So Christian sustained no injuries in her Honda there, but I'd say the car's probably a total loss. It was
Yeah.
pretty smashed up in the front there. Landrum and the 8 students received no injuries either.
Oh, thank goodness.
So no one was injured in this. And when I was out there, I heard them saying that a secondary school bus was going to be brought in to secure those 8 children.
That has to shake you up, though.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. And Miss Christian was cited for failure to maintain an assured clear distance ahead. And the High State Highway Patrol would like to remind motorists to always be mindful of school bus safety and to just pay attention during pickup and drop off hours of school.
Absolutely, buddy. I see a school bus, I stop. I don't
Yes.
care whether they got
I
their
stop.
little thing
I always
out or
stop
not.
way back.
I
yeah.
do too. I'm like, I don't know how far I'm supposed to be, but I'm just going to stop way back here.
Yeah.
Scares me to death. I do not want to be responsible for anybody's child.
Right. So we had that incident happen there Friday afternoon. Ran out to it real quick.
Thank goodness no one was hurt.
Everybody was okay. So that was a good outcome of that, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as Pete talked about, we're going to head out to the farm. So for the first time in 3 years, the Jackson-Vinton Farm Bureau was able to hold its annual Agriculture Experience Day. Jen.
Yay! It's back.
I don't know if you've ever been to that, but this is the first time they've been able to hold it since, that would be 2019?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Be able to hold it in person. And Dylan's just going to show some photos, action shots here of out there. This event is held in partnership with the Ohio State University Extension Office here in Jackson County, and it's the Ohio Agriculture Research and Development Center, the research farm out there off of Standpipe.
Oh, look how cute.
Yeah, you have Josh Winters there, ag agent,
Yeah.
with the sheep. Some of the kids were checking the sheep out. There was lots of animals out there, Jen, for the kids to check out. I talked to Jackson-Vinton Farm Bureau President Mick Scott, and he told me that the goal of Ag Experience Day is to give students a taste of what agriculture is and what it means throughout a child's life. This year, the event brought approximately 400 second grade students from, I think it was 7 schools across Jackson and Vinton counties. So all the schools in Vinton County, all the elementary schools in Vinton County attended, and Jackson City Schools and the Oak Hill Union local schools attended. Wilson City Schools was not on hand this year. I guess they had like an in-service day.
Okay.
So the students weren't there. But usually there's about 600 kids out there for this, second graders going from station to station. They have a number of stations.
It has a leash on.
Yeah, that rabbit did have a leash on.
Cute.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities for the kids to interact with the different animals out there.
That's amazing.
A part of this that they always do, and it was Jackson-Vinton Farm Bureau Senior Organizer Director Kim Harless.
Mm-hmm.
She was excited that it was back in person. They had the second graders out there, but a part of this that they always do is a T-shirt design competition.
Okay.
And they always hold that prior to this. And Dylan, you should have a group photo there somewhere. So these all the little second graders there with the trophies in hand were that would have been the 10 winners for the design.
Okay.
Your first place winner, I got the name here. Let's see. The winning design was made by a Northview Elementary student named Finley Harris. And he's there in the it's the black Under Armour shirt there with the red shorts. That's Finley, and you can see some of the Farm Bureau folks there behind wearing the white shirt, and on that shirt is his design. I wish I would have thrown a close up of that. But I didn't. I was trying. This was last minute. Me trying to get all this together to get it on the TV this morning.
That's pretty cool.
But we'll have a complete story that will name all the other winners. There was a total of 15 learning stations set up out there this year, and there was a number of people and organizations involved in that. Some of the animals out there, you had chicks and bunnies. As you saw, there was horses, goats, and sheep. There was even alpacas, longhorns, just a number of different animals.
Kids get to see all of that.
Right. There was even fish. There was fish out there, Jen. Yeah, they had They had like a long thing with a bunch of fish in it.
That is
I
so
hope
cool.
hope to get a video together for this. We'll probably have it later. I didn't have enough time to get it ready. Where it happened Friday, and then we had the other stuff going on and everything. But I plan to do a video. I used to do a fun little video for this every time I'd go out to this. It's been, like I said, since 2019.
I know. Can you believe it's been that long?
And it felt like, and I kept telling Kim Harless, I said, and other people I'd see out there, I was like, it just feels like old times.
Yeah.
Being out here on the farm, and it just kind of felt kind of nostalgic, even though it's been 3 years, but it just felt like it's been a long 3 years.
Yeah.
Jen.
Well,
so,
it has been.
It has. So,
in so many ways.
We'll have a video to put together for this on our website, thetelegrammnews.com. I'll share that on social media as well. We'll have extra photos and a photo gallery on the website, but we hope to get this in a future edition here. Had a couple other little things here I'll mention real quick. The Oak Hill Union Local Schools. They usually meet the third Wednesday of the month, but their meeting has changed for this month. For May, and their next scheduled meeting is set for Tuesday, May 30th at 4:30 p.m. at the Oak Hill Middle High School Library.
Okay,
and those meetings are open to the public. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. And I know I mentioned this, I think, last time I was on about the Ancient People in the Oak Hill area, that program that was being held at the Oak Hill Library. That program has been postponed.
Okay.
So it was supposed to be held on Thursday, May 25th, but it has been postponed. They haven't set a makeup date yet for that. And it was being held there at the Oak Hill Public Library. So I want to make sure I mentioned that, because I know I mentioned that as an upcoming event going on there. Had a few other things here, but I'm sure Pete maybe will get into this stuff at a later time, or I could always get into it at another time. So.
Okay.
I know we're out of time.
Dang it.
Pete talked too much today. He told me to come in about 15 till, and I could have the last 15 minutes, and he talked a little longer than that.
Is it because he's full of it?
He was full of it today.
Yep. Very good. No, we appreciate you stopping by, Jeremiah. You're always out and about doing things, and I love that the kids finally got back to doing the down on the farm deal, because that's
always a fun day for them.
Such a cool day for them.
It is. So we always need to go out and see too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the things you get to report on aren't all that fun, but that's a good
fun one
for sure.
And all those students also received a copy of that T-shirt, the winning design.
Great.
Thanks to a bunch of different sponsors that help with that. So
cool.
That's neat.
All right. Well, have a great day, everyone. We appreciate you so much for tuning in. And we'll be back here tomorrow. So have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
thetelegrammnews.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, thetelegrammnews.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
thetelegrammnews.com.
Subscribe today at thetelegrammnews.com.
Check it out.